Welcome to Safe, Efficient, Profitable, a Worker Safety Podcast, where we break down real problems from real situations and discuss realistic solutions. And here's your host, owner of Allen Safety LLC and CHMM, Joe Allen. Hello, everybody. This is Jen Allen. Joe is on the road this week, so I am here filling in. We're going to do something a little bit different this week. This episode is going out to all of my fatigued managers, my managers trying to change a safety culture, my managers battling lots of turnover, that they're the seventh safety manager and a revolving door, and they're trying to get the employees to trust them, get the location to trust them a little bit. This is also for my managers who've lost heart a little bit and are kind of feeling like giving up. I feel like lately, just the overall vibe in safety and in emails that I get and in phone calls and in conference calls and just the vibe on site sometimes is that as an industry in safety, I feel like we need a little bit of a pep talk. So that's kind of what this one's here today for you. So hopefully it does that for you. So let me ask you this. If we were truly honest, what would our employees say the first thing that comes to mind is when we say the word safety? Would they say it's an office, or would they say it's a movement that they're part of? If they say a person's name, or they say the safety office, or they say a specific location, this should be a little bit of a red flag for us that we may need to pivot our safety approach at our location. We may need to readjust, reframe and readjust. Somehow over the last few years, it's almost this vibe or this feeling that safety is very transactional. It's just an office. It's a PPE drive-through. We just come in, we get whatever we need, we leave. There's a limited presence sometimes out in the field just because of all the paperwork that we're trying to get caught up on. And I get this. But I also think part of it is because of what is being known as quiet quitting. And I think that concept does apply a little bit to the safety industry. And we've been kind of quietly quitting over the last couple of years, our committee meetings, our inspections, our PMs, working through our objective and targets list, working through our action item lists. A big one is communicating those objectives and targets that we're working on as part of safety and getting that information out to the folks in the field. Maybe we're not going to the floor as much. Maybe we're not going in on off shifts as much. And again, I get that. We all had to put things on the back burner. But the problem is that what I'm seeing is some of these things, they were important. We did them for a long time. We always had them, but we haven't brought them back. And I get it. We're all tired. We're short-staffed. I'm tired, tired, bone deep tired. I'm tired too. And I know, and I feel it in that lure of just doing our time and doing enough to get by. Don't be too crazy and don't, do too little. Just stay right in the middle of the pack, be average. The lure of saying mediocre or middle of the pack is okay. It's strong. I hear you, it's strong. But I'm also going to tell you, as someone that has worked to change safety cultures in the past, is that nothing stops momentum and puts a fire out of a movement like just settling for average, just settling for good enough is good enough. So think back to when you first went into safety for a second, or when you first took the job at the company that you're at now. I bet you didn't go into that with the idea of, well, I hope this company's average. I hope we can just get to work with average people and do average things and have an average career and just everything will be average, and that would be incredible. But as an industry, I know our frustrations, the daily work drama that happens, the daily fires we're putting out, the limitations we're having to work through. We've all got full plates. We've got limited room for error. And we've got a really narrow margin for failure. We've got a narrow margin to add anything else to our already full plate. I get it. It's slowly starting to have an effect, and it's detrimental. And before we know it, we find ourselves saying things like, well, I'm doing better than them over there, or at least we're not in the paper today, or the ambulance didn't show up today, and we're not the worst ones. We're not at the bottom. And somehow we've ended up as an industry losing a little bit of that passion, and we're just doing our time and just trying to get through the day. And we've stopped trying to make a difference. We've stopped working to be the best. We've lost some of that passion, and we don't even realize it. But the problem with that is the concept of allowing things to kind of slip and just, well, we can let that go. It's okay. We can afford to let that go. And the acceptance of just average and good enough is good enough. It's contagious. The real problem is in safety that can be really costly. Fatalities, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, in 2021 were higher than they were in 2011. Now, as safety people, this should be really alarming with all of the programs and all of the engineering controls and all of the PPE and all of the things that we've been doing. Think of everything technology-wise that's come out. This should be alarming. But I think part of the problem is, as a safety industry, we've taken our eye off the ball a little bit. I think some of the safety industry has lost sight of who their clients are. For safety managers, the employees are our clients. And what we do or don't do, or what we decide to push forward or make important in our day and make an agenda item for us, what we do or don't select, that affects them. That affects their daily living. And so I think we're so focused sometimes, we want to look busy, we're accomplishing stuff, leading indicators, lagging indicators, safety metrics, it's all important. We're working on our spreadsheets. But sometimes I think we're losing sight of what's really going on out on the floor, and we lose sight of what's actually happening, and we start implementing things and we're not even recognizing when we did that, we actually added more hazards instead of removing them. And that only serves to widen the gap and the disconnect between the safety office and the employees in the field. And that is never the goal. That's never what we're looking for. Our job is to make sure that those employees go home the same way that they came in. They're someone's family member. They are someone's parent or grandparent. They have children and grandchildren. They mean something to somebody. Somebody's counting on them. And we owe it to them as our clients and as people in general, just human beings, to be honest with ourselves. If our current approach on overall safety in general, or a specific project or a program, if it's not working and it's not moving safety forward in a positive way, or if it's not the best solution and option for our employees, then we need to stop. We need to stop, and we need to pivot, and we need to readjust. We need to put any personal agendas or personal feelings aside, and we need to put the hard feelings in a box, and the disappointment that we have that didn't work and it was maybe a flop. We put it away. We need to put it in a box, because our loyalty has to be to our clients, and those clients are the employees out in the field. Just think about this for a minute. What would safety at our locations look like if everyone at the location was as committed and as motivated as you were the day you took the job where you're currently at, or the day that you decided wanted to go into safety and that was your passion? That job chose you and that you were passionate about safety. But distractions happen the longer we're in our jobs and the longer we're in our careers or the longer we're in our industry. Seems like there's always a fire to put out, something really urgent that needs to take away our attention, something that's forcing us to lose our focus, something else that we need to work on and get added to our plate. And so we're having to split our time and divide our time even farther. But I will invite you to consider the idea that not everything that's getting your attention deserves it. And just because we can doesn't mean we should. And I know, we say we're trying and we say we're making an effort, but I'm going to invite you to psychologically reframe the concept of trying, because trying to me is almost like you're anticipating a bad outcome. You're giving your brain room to accept failure or allowing that to even be a possibility. I would invite you to reframe that. Instead, we need to be training. We need to be practicing. And then the things that we're training and practicing as managers and out on the floor and as trainers, those become habits, and they're followed over and over, and we're passing them on with others we're working with. And so if your team is down, that's a great place to start when you're looking at changing culture at your location. Or if they just need a little pick-me-up, let's psychologically reframe things just a little bit. And it's amazing how just reframing one or two words and putting a different word in there. We're not going to try. There is no try. We're going to be awesome. We're going to be excellent. We're going to be the best. This is going to work. There is no fail. When we start viewing it like that, it's interesting how the motivation can change. And that motivation, just like the acceptance of average and just good enough's good enough, well, the concept of being motivated and excited, that's contagious too. And that's the emotions that we want on our team. So I invite you to just turn that dimmer switch back up. Let's be present. Let's be out in the field. Let's be out and about. Let's make sure we're not self-sabotaging by just accepting okay. Let's make sure we're staying focused, and let's most importantly not forget what or who is at stake. Let's reconnect with those that we're doing this for and remind ourselves why we picked this field to begin with. And let's reignite that passion for safety within ourselves and other locations. That's going to be it for me, everybody. I hope this helped motivate you a little bit and get you going on your Monday morning. I hope it provides inspiration that maybe you're needing, that you feel like you've been just burned out a little bit. We want to thank you for listening. And again, invite you to, if you've got any questions, make sure that you let us know. You can contact us on our website. And thank you. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you for listening to Safe, Efficient, Profitable, a worker safety podcast. If you like what you heard here, please take a moment to write us a quick review, like, subscribe, and share our podcast so that others can find us. For questions or to request topics that you'd like to hear on our next show, please visit us at www.allen-safety.com. Thank you.